I'm Grace. I studied civil engineering at University of Nottingham in 2014 to 2018. So I've now been in Nottingham 4 years, was at uni, and now 4 years as a grad, which is a little bit scary because where's the time gone?
And are you from Nottingham?
No, I'm from Cheltenham.
Oh, okay.
So I moved up here for uni
So
and then
you love Nottingham so much
never
you
left.
decided to stay.
Yeah, I love it. So, and I've been working at Arup all that time. So I did some placements with them in between years at uni. And then got a grad job and again have just been here ever since.
Nice.
And
Bye family.
yeah.
Look
No,
at me.
I love it. I love Nottingham so much. So.
Oh, good stuff. What is it you like about Nottingham? I mean, in terms of the queerness or the diversity?
Yeah, I think it's just compared to Cheltenham, it's a lot bigger. There's a lot more going on. There's like loads of great independent restaurants, shops, gigs, venues, theatres.
And
that
it's all
stuff.
contained.
And
That's
it's a
what
nice
I love
little...
about Nottingham. It's like you don't need to go on a bus to go the other side of the town to see
And the public
things.
transport is great. Like I don't drive, so I just jump on a bus or tube. No tubes. A tram. Yeah, it's great. I feel like I'm going to stay here for a while.
Was there a big coming out story for you
It wasn't,
leaving Cheltenham or?
It wasn't big. Like I was already out to like my friends and parents in sixth form, and I turned up on the first day and moved in to my flat, and it was with 5 girls. And so we were all in the kitchen, and it was like, oh, where are you from? Da da da. Oh, I've got a boyfriend. And I was like, no, I'm gay. I just did it on the first day. The first opportunity, I was just like, I'm going to get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out
And
there.
how was that perceived?
It was fine. They were just like, oh, yeah. My boyfriend's called Brad. I don't know. Da da da. So that was fine. It kind of took me a little while to sort of find my people. Like I had friends on my course and I was friends with the girls that I lived with, but it wasn't until maybe a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in that I went to the first like LGBT network social. Like there are a few people in my block who were like in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
So that's how I met one of my best friends actually. I messaged him like, are you going to the LGBT social on Friday? And he was like, yeah, let's go together.
Oh, cool.
We've been best friends ever since. But it was then when I like, on that first night out, kind of met a few different people and we really got on. And
it's all cross-discipline and
across different year groups, across different degrees.
Yeah.
Like there are a few international students as well. So that's when I found like my core little group of friends, and we like spent the whole year hanging out and doing stuff together. And then the international students left, and like we kind of floated apart. But for that first year, those were like my cool people where I felt really comfortable.
Oh, and were you aware of the sort of diversity of the university with the queer community before you came to uni?
It was so long ago, I can't quite remember.
I think
I knew there was a LGBT network, and I think I remember reading in the prospectus they were like, we've got the biggest gay club in the world, in the city, or in the UK or something, which was NG1.
Oh yeah.
Never set foot in there.
Just quickly, go back to, so you're coming out in Cheltenham then. So what age were you when you were?
I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously things have changed a lot since then. My dad basically asked me, we went for this long walk and then we got back and we'd had a lot of deep conversations and he was kind of like, well, this is your favourite TV show, this is your favourite band, this is your favourite book.
What were they, by the way?
It was Tegan and Sarah. I can't remember what the TV show was. I think I'd been watching the women's football in the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
And I don't even like football. So he was like, let's put these things together. He was like, is there anything you want to tell me? I was like, no, because you clearly already know. Yeah. And then I was just like, well, yeah, I'm gay. And he was like, okay. I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, if there wasn't that representation in the media, then I wouldn't have had those things to look at and look up to and be like, help me figure it out.
Yeah.
And then if my dad didn't know about it, he wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, and I guess at the time you were comfortable with your sexuality?
Yeah, it took me a couple of years to figure it out. But then it turned out, like I came out to one of my friends and she was like, oh yeah, I'm bisexual as well. I was like,
why didn't you tell me?
You didn't tell me? And it turned out all of my friends, like looking back, all of my friends at sixth form around that time came out as some version of queer and found each other, and it all turned out that we had something in common we didn't know about.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's quite special.
Apparently some people knew about the networks before they even looked for the job at university.
Wow.
So I'm like, that's kind of, I think, really important that people are looking for that. before they go and apply
Yeah.
for a job. So
Well,
whether it's student or staff.
I had that with Arup. So when I was looking for doing placements and stuff, they were all very kind of like, oh, we've got all these different groups. So that it's called Connect. So there's Connect Out, Connect
okay.
Cultures, Connect Ability, Connect Women. So there's kind of lots of little networks under that umbrella. Like there's opportunities to work all across the world because it's a global company. But I remember reading something about saying like, well, if they ask you to go to a country where it's illegal to be gay, like you don't have to, we'll support you. Like, don't feel like you have to put yourself in danger kind of situation. Yeah. So I remember reading that in like 2012, 2013 and being like, oh, okay, that's good to know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And yeah, when I joined Arup, I kind of got involved in the Connect Out group, and I mean there weren't that many people who were out, but I know over the last 4 years there've been more and more people who joined who are in structural engineering. It's mostly male dominated, but in my team I'm quite lucky that it's almost 50-50 between men and women, so it's definitely getting better in kind of a gender split way. In sustainability there is a lot more women. I don't know if that's because they tend to study more science-based subjects than engineering subjects, but when I was at uni on my course there were 25% women, which is pretty decent. I feel lucky that I work at a company who's so very kind of pro everything. I remember, so when I did my first placement at Arup, was in 2016, and like the week I started they'd just got these new mugs which had rainbows on them, and that it said Connect Out. I think it was like the 5-year anniversary since it had been established. So it was like, oh, Connect Out supporting our LGBT colleagues on it. And that was like my first week, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. There's a rainbow mug, and I feel, it was like 10% of the mugs are rainbow mugs because 10% identifies LGBT. I don't know if the new stats that's been released override that, but anyway, I was like, oh, this is a little thing, and I wasn't actually out in that placement because I was 20 and I didn't know how much to share of myself at work, not just me being queer, but just like my personal life versus being in a work environment. So I never came out to them, but I was secretly just like, oh, little gay mug. But then the next placement, so I did 2. The following year, I think I was living with my girlfriend at the time, so it was really easy to drop.
It is, isn't it? When you've
like,
got...
oh, I'm going back to my girlfriend's house or whatever.
My partner,
yeah. So it was easier to drop in, and I just said it, and everyone was just like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, sorry, I can't come out. I need to go help my girlfriend move house, and they were like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I've noticed that kind of lack of questioning now is like, oh, so you know, when they say, you know, you've got a partner, it's like, oh, do you do this, do you do that? You know, all the cliches of all that kind of stuff. It's kind of just like, oh, great, yeah, okay, just carry on with conversation. There's some point in your life, I mean, I'm 43 now, and it stops, those questions stop coming to you, and you go, what's just happened? Why have they just gone on with their everyday life?
Like with my friends, before I came out, like I did feel like there was a bit of a block, like I couldn't quite connect with them in the same way. Like they were all talking about which boys they fancy off Supernatural or whatever TV show, and I was just like, oh, I can't contribute to this conversation. And it did feel a little bit like I was hiding myself. But then when I came out to them, it was kind of all out in the open, and I've been quite good at doing that throughout the rest of my life, apart from, like we were saying, on placement where I was trying to figure out the boundaries between work and personal. And even now, sometimes I do feel a little bit like, even though I am out and proud and everyone wants you to bring your full self to work, sometimes there's just sometimes little cultural things of just like, is a pop culture thing of like, oh, this TV show or this musician I'm really into, and they're like, they don't know who that is. It doesn't quite match, but that's not a negative, that's just being in a minority kind of group at any point. So I think everyone feels that at some point. Yeah. One of my bosses did once say to me, he thought it was great that I could bring my full self to work and felt comfortable with that. And he's like a great ally and is really like on board with the equality, diversity, inclusion stuff. And Arup as a whole are really kind of like pushing that. And even going into kind of like mental health and well-being. We do stuff for like Pride Month, we'll like do a collection for Not LGBT charity, or we'll do like everyone wears a different coloured T-shirt to make the rainbow, or take a photo, and we've got the rainbow lanyards, which we got new ones recently, which have the updated Pride flag colours on.
Yes, that's what I was.
And so. To get one of those, you have to make an inclusion pledge to say, it's not you just get one. It's like, this is me putting this on is a signified thing that I'm here to support the community, and you've got to write a little thing about, like, is it you're supporting in particular, like, so you can put in, are you supporting all LGBT colleagues, or are you trying to educate yourself on trans and non-binary issues? But it means that I can just scroll through and be like, oh, so-and-so from my office has said this, and so-and-so from my office said that. And obviously you see them, people wearing the lanyards, and it does mean something. No, I've never felt like pressured, like, you have to go, and you have to go on behalf of Arup, and da-da-da. So, like, I went to Birmingham Pride in 2019 with Connect Out, but that was organised through a wider group in the construction industry called Building Equality. So it was like contractors, consultants, loads of different people. So it was a great chance to meet other people from the Birmingham office and from other offices, and we all got together and we had T-shirts that said Arup on, and it was a rainbow, and we walked around with this big rainbow digger behind us. It was amazing, but also it did feel a little bit weird. I've never been in.
Where's that digger now?
It goes on tour. It goes around all the prides. But I do remember it being a little bit weird because we were just like walking along and just like waving, and I was just like, it did feel a bit weird to be on show. Like, it was really good fun because like, everyone was cheering and it was great, and it felt good to like be making a statement, but also it was like a good 45-minute walk around Birmingham just being like, I think I do it because, like, when I was a student, it's like we were talking about before, like, do you search out the networks before you go somewhere? And I feel like that's me kind of repaying the favour of, like, being someone, a role model, if you want, I don't know if I like that word, but like someone who...
It's that visual identity, somebody, you know...
You can look up to and be like, oh, if I look like that or feel like that or identify as that, then I can do that as well. And I, like, when I was on my placement, like, there weren't many female engineers, so I feel like it's good to promote that. And then when we've got like summer placement students or work experience students coming through who, like, more and more younger people are identifying as queer in some way, being a visible out queer person in engineering is like, yeah, you can do that. I didn't have someone who was queer to look up to when I was doing, I barely had any women to look up to when I was doing my placement. So I think the value of like helping the next generation and
getting a diverse spread of representation.
And like, I might look stereotypically like I've got short hair, I've got piercings, like people can probably assume quite quickly, but I think it's valuable having people who look, like you say, look all different ways, so it's not just the stereotype.
So when I did Pride with the university last year, there was a prospective student that joined the march, and she joined with a little dog, and she said, this is so great that I can identify with this member of staff at the university that I'm going to study at. And that kind of put her at ease, knowing that there were, as well as student groups, there were staff there from all walks of life. And
that is really encouraging, because it's not just about I know that there's mature students, but like the younger generation of it just being okay with them, but then as you move up, there's less people, and knowing that you'd be supported throughout the ranks.
So that was just a nice thing for me. That was something that I thought, oh no, this is why we're doing it still. It's that.
When I was at Pride this year, my boss, who's the big ally, he was like, I'm going to come and I'm going to go watch. And I was in the parade with my friends and just waved it. It was a weird intersection of work life and personal life, because like I'm out at work. But that's different to me being out in my personal life.
Well, that's professional and social, isn't it? They're two different things anyway.
Like trying to figure out way back on my first placement, but it was like, okay, yeah, it's nice to see you, but I'm gonna go now. Because like I do work for a big company, but I work in one of the smaller offices, so like proportionally, there's less out queer people in my office, and especially when there's a lower percentage of female employees or female identifying employees. It means that I am one of very few, And it does feel like, I don't know, less so recently, but sometimes it does feel like you're the go-to person to talk about these things. And sometimes I'm happy to talk about that, and sometimes I'm like, why me? Like, and especially with like being involved in staff networks, it can fall to those people who are out to be the ones who are carrying all of it and organising it. And like you've said, it can be a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
And so I'm not as involved as I'd like to be, because I need to balance that with other things that I'm passionate about. I don't feel pressure, but it just naturally, sometimes that's the way these things fall.
Yeah.
That you're that one person to talk about that one thing with. And sometimes it's when it's negative things, like negative stuff in the news, it's hard to be the person bearing that.
How important is it for you to have allies fully on board and supportive of the issues within the community? And
Yeah, that is really important at work, because like I said, it's mostly a male-dominated industry. It's mostly...
And you spend half your life at work.
Yeah, it's mostly straight presenting people. So having allies is really important to like share that load of that stuff. And like I was saying, with like the network stuff, sharing that extra workload so that it's not just the queer person carrying it all. And like I said, our office leader is a massive ally, and he does a lot of work. He's like a diversity champion, so he is really like demonstrating it top down. And then our rep for Connect Out in the Nottingham office is an ally, so she's really like doing a good job of being an ally and like showing that you don't have to identify as LGBT yourself to get involved. Yeah. So I really appreciate that. And like we were saying about the lanyards, just visibly being an ally and showing up means a lot and helps spread the load. In the office, there's a mix of different kind of disciplines and age ranges and groups of people, whereas at university, when you're on your course, it's a lot of quite similar people, and you're in a bit of a bubble. So I think I was the only out gay person on my course of about 100 people. I don't think I ever felt alone in that, because I had those friends from different places that like had my back. I don't remember feeling like I needed any extra support personally at that time.
When you were at university, pronouns weren't coming into play then, were they? So how was that?
It was before the kind of put your pronouns in your email and on your social media and kind of stuff kind of stage. So I had like a couple friends who were trans at uni. I don't think I really learned about non-binary until a few years in. Most people put them in their email signature. Just updated our like CV system, so there's a place to put your pronouns.
Oh, that's good.
Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to have it on Teams and such. But it is definitely being kind of encompassed, which is positive.
Good. Well done, Arup.
Yeah. I've been quite lucky that I've not really faced any adversity or like challenge, apart from just like generally society, but not like face to face. And then sometimes that makes you feel like we talk about all the people who've come before who've gone through horrendous things, and then I'm just here like, oh no, it's all fine, it's all lovely, and they're like, that's great, but then also, I don't know, the assumption is that you've gone through some kind of hard times. Yeah,
I mean we have, but it's definitely not as traumatic as what some others are still going through or have gone through. I mean, one thing for me is when it's Pride, and there's always a backlash on the social media. Yeah, why do we need Pride? I'm going to have straight Pride. I'm going to have this Pride. It's like, well, let's just remember why we're doing this. I know it is a bit of a kind of a party sort of season now, but it is to honour those people that have fought before us, because they were quite political back in the day, weren't they? They're a bit more sort of inclusive and a bit more, come and join us. We're gonna.
Yeah, it's like mine is a very lucky scenario, and I know people who have struggled a lot more with their sexuality or their gender or coming out to parents and they're not going well. But that's all kind of happened prior to me meeting them. But I've had like friends have stuff yelled at them in the street and kind of nasty things said. And I think that's when the kind of power of community comes together, because that's when like we'll all come around and be like, that's not okay, I'm sorry that happened to you, we're here for you, like if you do want to talk about it. So I think having that like internal little support network is really valuable. And like I know if anything ever happened to me that was negative, that they'd have my back.
Yeah.
So I'm running with my run club, and we're going to do the Paris Marathon in 2 months.
Oh, okay.
So I've never been to
nice.
Paris, I've never run a marathon, it's a lot of new things, but I'm really excited. And I decided to like fundraise for an environmental charity because that's something else I'm really passionate about, so I'm kind of bringing all those things together. So yeah, the other things, I can talk all day about being queer, but I can also talk all day about the environment, the climate emergency, sustainability, how hard marathon training is, how much I love coffee. One of my best friends at work is also in sustainability, and she's also in the Connect Out LGBT network. So when we get together, we can just talk for hours because we're so passionate about both those things. But then there's like the intersectional lens of kind of climate justice and obviously Pride starting out as a protest, you care a lot about people, you care about injustice and like the overlaps of those. So quite a lot of my friends are queer and in sustainability, so we have great chats. And then a lot of my friends who are queer are also runners, so there's an overlap there. So I feel like it's a big Venn diagram of things. And wouldn't say I necessarily split them out. I just talk about certain things with certain people and certain things with other people. It varies. I'm part of 2 running clubs, and one is just everyone local, and then one is like an online one, which is just queer runners, and that's kind of a space for people who, like, if there's non-binary runners and you can't enter as non-binary in a race, then that kind of feeling, or just seeing queer people doing amazing things like running ultra marathons.
But those safe spaces are really, really key, and I think online versions of those are really, really prominent.
So it's I don't think it'll ever be. We don't need those safe spaces. It's not that we'll ever not want those safe spaces, but I suppose like the general landscape is becoming more safe. I feel like never want it to be a big deal. Like you just want to live your life, like, and it not be a big deal about who you're dating or how you identify or anything. But then equally, I think it being a different characteristic kind of helps you find those other people who feel that way and helps you find that community. But then the reason you need those people in your life is so that you have that shared understanding, but then that's that shared understanding of being different. So if everyone was the same and you didn't need to feel different, then would you need those support from those people in the same way? So it's tricky because I've met like all my best friends through being out and open and queer and like through the community, and I'm so glad that I met them, and I might not have crossed paths with them if we didn't have this thing in common. But then I wouldn't want to take that away, but then it's like we were saying about having different interests. You meet people through different interests and different lenses. Leave us alone, let us be happy, but also let us be out and proud, I guess.
It is that thing of, let us enjoy our life, let us say who we are and support each other. Because you can imagine growing up and never having to be questioned like, oh, so you're straight then, so what's this sort of, and it's kind of like the thing, if we turn the tables, how, that thing where you've never had to question it, or it's never been an issue, or it's just that's what you are, born into the world as, without any questions, it's easy. And everything's there and set up for that. But when you've got to question it, and it's difficult. But having that safe space at work is I think very vital, as well as home. But because you spend most of your time at work, and you can't choose who is coming in to work with you, can you? So So how do you navigate the language, and is there a pressure to get it right in terms of language? And
I think like we've said before, you don't want to get it wrong and hurt someone. Thinking back, like I don't even know if non-binary was much of a big thing, like even towards the end of when I was at uni, or at least my awareness of it. I think it was kind of after after that came into my knowledge. And it's probably, again, through media and through like magazines and TV and stuff online that it kind of permeates and you start learning about it. I've got friends who identify as non-binary and use they, them pronouns or she, they pronouns, and kind of it's the first time in practice where I've used them.
Yeah.
So like before it's like, oh, I've read about it, and now it's like, oh, well, I need to get this right because these people are my friends and I care about them. And then like educating my parents about it and being like, oh, actually they don't use she pronouns. This is what this is. Yeah. And like I think maybe like my extended family probably don't get it as much.
Yeah.
And it varies for different people, like how strongly you might identify with those and how like important it is to get those right, or rather some people feel it quite loosely and are happy with any pronouns, and then some people are like, no, this is my identity. So I think it's something I'm learning a lot about. Yeah. I would probably use queer with other queer people. Yeah. I'm not sure I would always use it, like in work settings, I would probably say gay, because people get what that means. I feel like I sometimes use lesbian, but sometimes it doesn't feel right to me. I don't know if that's because like when I was in school, people would use it as an insult. Yeah. So it's like the thing with queer. And sometimes I'm just like, you know what, I don't know what I'm feeling, I'm just going to call it queer, and that encompasses so many things. Yeah. So I use, for myself, I use queer a lot, and I'll use gay a lot, but sometimes I use gay as like a cover-all term instead of queer, but then some people don't identify with that because I don't want to erase like bi or pan identities. I've been learning a lot of stuff within my friendship group and my personal life about like bi-erasure and which words people prefer and how that varies. So I'm still learning a lot, even though I've been out as gay for 10 years. Yeah.
No, thank you very much for talking with me today, meeting me. It's been, I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot, and I hope you have from the older homosexual.